tight ends utilized in the Canadian Football League, and a lot of people, why do you go into tight ends? It doesn't make any sense. It's a wide open game, but you do that because the linebackers are getting smaller and smaller. I know we touched on it earlier, but these are former defensive backs that are coming up and playing linebacker, and that's why you're seeing a lot of the big linemen and tight ends used offensively.
So an 8-point Renegade lead. Tynes hangs it up. Troy Davis with some room across the 40, and a decent Troy Davis return up to the 50-yard line. So the Cats will have good field position here to try and close the gap. Coming up at halftime, less than 3 minutes away. We'll have the history of excellence, and Mr. Williams will quarterback the panel. And we'll find out what the guys think of this first half of play. Are you going to run back downstairs again?
I was just thinking about that. You know, I miss him so much, I may run back down. But they got a good half of football to talk about, that's for sure.
Well, it is interesting because you've got a team that is playing better and is playing desperately to win its first game. And you've got a young team trying to establish itself, trying to prove that they're for real. I didn't like the word fluke from the guys downstairs because I didn't think there was anything fluky about that win last week against Montreal. It looked to me like a young team that's really on the brink of emerging.
Hey, listen, this is my first game with you. Don't go against my panel already.
Well, you know, once you come upstairs, it's
I agree with what you said. The fact that in that game, Montreal, they beat Montreal, that's no fluke. They outplayed them, and that's what they're capable of. The fluke maybe, can you put those together in the back-to-back games?
And this is really a litmus test. Joe Pauw wasn't crazy about his week of practices as this team's got to be able to back it up week after week. And there's a catch for Archie Amerson as the Tiger Cats are on the move again.
Danny knew where he was going all along with this football. He had Archie matched up on the youngster Ordway. He turns around, gives him a little push. Nothing wrong with that. A little push, help you out, create some separation, and a nice little first down for a 12-yard catch. You know, the push-off is always underestimated for the receiver. You get that nice little nudge, it creates instant separation.
Yes, you made a career of it, didn't you?
I tried to.
Sean Gallant is in at safety for Ottawa. McManus a lot of time, and a pass incomplete, looking for Ibsen Kara. Kara, an Ottawa product, University of Ottawa.
Yeah, Danny was looking to the left side where he had Archie running a corner route. And I don't know if you can see it at the top of your left screen, but he turns him around and is actually open there. But for some reason, Danny goes back to the right side where Tenkara is well covered.
Grant Clements in there, and he was shadowing his man. And there is Sean Gallant, who has moved into the starting safety spot. This is his first game of the year, off-season ACL injury. And it's been a long haul back for the Windsor product to get into the lineup. Bud Steen to sort out this penalty. And the options being given to the Ottawa defense.
Time count violation.
We're seeing a bit of an animated Danny McManus today, which is a little bit out of characteristic with his offensive line, a little bit with the referees. Look at him pointing. This guy's a competitor, let me tell you, 0-11 or not. He goes out there to win every football game, which, being a professional football player, you should, but he's got a fire in his belly, that's for sure.
Ticats lose the down there, and so are forced to punt. And Jason Curry, one of 8 Hamilton products in the Ticat lineup, with a booming punt into the end zone, and it'll go right through for the single point. So it's a 7-point game, 67-yard punt. I think Ron Lancaster would have preferred to hit the coffin corner there.
Yeah, you get the point that brings you within 7, which is the touchdown, but really it's all about field position. You want to pin him down inside the 15 or 10-yard line, which he wasn't able to do.
So now Kerry Joseph has another chance in this late stages of the first half. Here are the key men so far. Bendros, the key receiver, although Ronick has been able to chip in more ways than one.
Yeah, more receiving yards than rushing, which is pretty impressive for Josh.
4 receivers right side, but it's Ronick up the middle, and he shakes a tackle. Josh Ronick into the secondary and down into Hamilton territory. Well, somehow eluded the first tackle, which would have been near the line of scrimmage, and then he romped for 22.
Well, there's about 3 arm tackles that he breaks here, and the first one is Joe Montford, which, wow, some pretty big arms there. And he breaks another one down there, and finally about the 4th guy brings him down, but that's a nice run.
Now Joseph, a short pass complete to Aubrey Cummings. I know last year we talked about Ronick, and they said he's one of these guys that in practice doesn't look that fast, but his game speed is much faster than you'd expect. And he was compared to a guy beside me in the booth. They say he's like Flutie. He doesn't look that fast in practice, but he's lightning on the field.
Somehow my names get mentioned when you say not that fast. They always say, well, Flutie, you know, he wasn't that fast.
Well, once the game started, you were. Flag down as that pass falls incomplete. The shovel pass from Joseph. And with a minute 33 to go in the first half. And this is going against Hamilton.
Offside. Hamilton 53. Second out repeat.
And Montford a little anxious to get his hands on Ronick again.
Well, Big Joe's had a lot of offsides in his career. That's one of his key to his game is quickness and getting off the ball, and occasionally he jumps the gun a bit too much.
Might be a key part of the ball game here as the Ticats try to keep this a 7-point game. Ronick ran through another arm tackle, dropped the ball, and the Cats are on it. And it's Tim Cheatwood. As Josh Ronick stripped of the ball, flags are flying after the play. Well, Ronick had not fumbled yet this year. Fumbles were a problem last season. I was actually talking to him about Troy Davis's problems yesterday. And there are a couple of injured players on the turf.
We sort out the injuries, which is John McDonald, at least for the Tiger Cats. But it's these second extra effort running backs that fall into the fumble problem, because you're always exposed when you're breaking tackles and the ball's hanging out a little bit wider. And we've, like you said, coming into the game talking about Troy Davis having fumble problems. Ironic that Josh is the one that fumbles the ball first.
McDonald, the injured Tiger Cat, he was also called for a penalty on the play. Abu Metrek of Ottawa also shaken up. As you see the scrum, and there's McDonald, and that's the call.
That's an obvious late hit by John. The fumble itself is caused by Hitchcock, making his presence felt. He played very well Monday and Labor Day, and recovered by Timmy Cheatwood, who's having a great season in a good game.
And they continue to work on the big defensive tackle of the Tiger Cats. Graduate of McGill, another Hamilton kid, grew up cheering for the Cats, and now a member of that black and gold defense. But a big turnover here as Ottawa had a chance to expand the lead to beyond a touchdown. Spencer first contact.
Oh, I thought Hitchcock hit it, but it's Dietrich Mathis that actually pops the ball loose. And again, you said how important that drive was. Ottawa goes down, gets some points there. You start to think, oh, here go the Ticats again. But they create the turnover, and it's a big play, but they still find a way to kind of implode, as it were, and get that 15-yard penalty to back them up to the 36-yard line.
Now Josh Ronick saying, why did that play-by-play guy have to bring up fumbles yesterday? Well, last week, Mike Mihalik with a penalty when Hamilton had a chance to extend a drive. This time, look out, Gerald Vaughn, ouch, touchdown Ottawa, Gerald Vaughn, and you don't make that kind of mistake against a great defender like Vaughn.
No, you sure don't.
31 yards, an interception return
snap. It goes over his head. You can see Danny in his demeanor. He's got to hurry up. He's a little flustered there. So he wants to hurry up and get rid of it because he knew at the time of the bad snap. Tries to throw it out in the flat late, and Gerald Bond just waiting for it. Gerald Bond was the best signing as a free agent coming here to Ottawa last year. He's a guy that you build a franchise around. Not only a great defensive player, but a tremendous special teams player.
On the DBs, we're the best in the league.
So many
we're the best in the league.
Areas.
11-year vet, Grey Cup winner in Calgary and Hamilton. The extra point is added. And he had an interception last week. And another one here today that he takes to the house as he read Danny McManus's mail.
Again, starting with the high snap. Now his back's to the defense. He doesn't see anything, and he's pumping right away. As you see his feet moving, wants to get rid of it. Unfortunately, a little behind Troy Davis and a little late getting out there. And Gerald won't let you make that mistake. Gerald suffered a lot of injuries last year. Maybe didn't have the impact he could have had on a first-year team. But he's healthy this year, and you're really seeing the benefits of Gerald Vaughn being on your football team.
And an overflow crowd in the Beaver Lodge there in the end zone here in Ottawa. And a veteran doing a slow burn on the Hamilton bench after a mistake that is at a critical time in this game. And it's another case of the Ticats playing well of late, but beating themselves with critical mistakes.
Yeah, even this game, like you said, they've been playing well. They've been moving the football well, but there's just the penalty at the end of the fumble recovery, and the bad snap that leads to the pick. I mean, these are just the little things that you can't do. You got to accept you got a bad snap and say, hey, listen, I may not be able to get rid of this. Maybe I got to take a sack. But instead, Danny decides to try to get rid of the ball late. It's a catastrophe.
Tynes kicks it off. Just over a minute to go. Tiger Cats will try and make amends. Yeast crossing the 35-yard line. Well, now the case is flags fly and tempers flare. The Hamilton Tiger Cats, to win today, to win their first game of the year, will have to score the most points they've scored all year. Their season high was 25 in a 47-25 loss to the Lions. They trail 25-11 here late in the first half.
Well, Coach Lancaster doesn't seem too happy about it right now.
Ottawa, 34. First down.
They get a nice penalty going their way, which gives them great field position. They're going to be just about their own 50, 52-yard line. But I'll tell you what, they can come back and put points on the board. Danny is actually throwing the football very well today up until that last pick. So they have the ability to do it. It's just a question of putting it together and not making the mistakes when you get down there to score.
Tim Fleiser, the former Tiger Cat, called for unnecessary roughness, so that sets up the Tiger Cats at the 52. McManus back to work. There is the newcomer with his first Canadian Football League catch, Ray Thomas. Short yardage as he's worked over. And Ron Lancaster really wasn't sure what to expect out of Thomas today. They did take a long look at him in the camp of the Bills, but he didn't take many reps, so they weren't really sure how much they could utilize Thomas here with a short week in the Hamilton offensive scheme.
Yeah, Danny does a good job of getting them into the football game, at least at the receiving end, with just a nice 4-yard pass. It puts them in 2nd and 6. Maybe they can convert this.
Crossing midfield, over the middle. There's a catch, and drilled on the play. Thomas back-to-back catches, and this will depend on the spot. I believe a first down, and the youngster certainly wanted to make that clear that he'd got to the stick.
He's making a claim to bring the tight end back to the Canadian Football League, and Danny's using him well. That's where you want to use your guy. As we said before, the Ticats need someone over the middle to make these catches.
John Grace with the tackle, but not before Thomas moves the chains. He's been playing football in Hamilton since he was 8 years of age. Look at the time. McManus looking deep downfield. Jump ball. Yeast. No, they're going to rule he was out at the 1. Craig Yeast with the catch, and he did get a foot down. And Yeast tells the official he made a good call.
Well, Yeast is making a great impact as a receiver, which he hasn't been doing the first few weeks he's been on the roster. But Danny's using him well. Danny's looking the whole field over. Everybody's covered, so Danny says, what the heck, I'm going to take a shot with my deep guy. I got him one-on-one, some little pushing and shoving.
Battle with McCullough, that looks like a touchdown.
It does look like a touchdown.
Over the marker when he was not signaling touchdown. I thought he ruled out of bounds, but in any event, it's 1st and goal at the 1 on a terrific catch by Craig Yeast. So the Cats try to get it right back, and it's a touchdown for Julian Radlin, but there are flags on the field. The big fullback pounds it in for what could be his 5th major score of the year.
Offside. Ottawa 56. Penalties declined. Touchdown.
Less than 30 seconds to go in the half, and Ron Lancaster's team got it back, and so they will get to the dressing room with a better feel, better taste in their mouth.
It's a perfect example of why you have to like Danny McManus. A couple bad plays, some picks, you know, the high snap that led to the pick, but what's he do? He comes back. He's not afraid to throw the deep ball, or it might get, that ball could have easily been picked, maybe the defender turns, but he has no fear. He just lets it go. He sees what he sees and lets the ball go, and once it's out of your hand, you can't worry about it. And again, a good example of the big guy paying off. Radlin, he's looked really good in the last 4 football games.
UBC product. They celebrate, and the Cats get right back in it. This is not what Ottawa wanted today. They didn't want Hamilton hanging around. Got a good football game.
Yeah, that's what you want to do to a football team that's lost 11 straight. You get them down early, and then they're going to say, oh, here we go again, another loss. Let's get through the football game.
Joe Paupau's called timeout here with 23.4 seconds remaining in the half. But you could just see McManus doing that slow burn after the Vaughn interception on the bench, and he came out firing when he got another chance to atone for the mistake.
Danny has that nice, calm demeanor most of the time, and you just think everything just rolls off his back. But let me tell you, this 0-11 season has really taken a toll on Danny, and he's very frustrated, but yet he's so competitive. He can't wait to get back on the field and get a chance to win a football game. And there's Rob Hitchcock sucking up to the head coach for playing time.
Well, again, coming up at halftime, our panel will dissect what has been an interesting opening half of play. And we talked about last year, a 38-37 game at Frank Clair Stadium. It looks like we're in for another one of those. Bendros. There's something on. Bendros shifts gears out past the 40. Kerry Joseph has 17.2 seconds to work with. Do they play it close to the vest, or does he try and get back in field goal range and try to extend this lead?
Well, you know your field goal kicker has a pretty strong leg and good range. You only got about maybe 20, maybe 15, 20 yards to have an outside chance. So definitely they're going to try to, not definitely, nothing is definite, but I would say they try to get it into field goal range and let their guy take a shot at the end of the half. Yesterday, Joe Paupau said, when in doubt, be aggressive. So let's see if that's the way they go. They'll keep it on the ground. Ronick and the Prime Minister, John A. MacDonald, pulls him down. John MacDonald back in the lineup after an injury on that fumble recovery a few series ago. Well, in my usual fashion, I'm wrong, and they don't look like they're really going to make a move to try to get the field goal. Well, with a young team, you wondered if there was a mistake made now. Well, let's see. They're going to swing it out, see if Ronick can get it this way. But Scott Coe was there. The Winnipeg product out of the University of Manitoba limits the gain, and they will run out of time here in the opening half. Well, plenty of fireworks in the first 30 minutes of play.
And a 7-point lead for Joseph and the Renegades as we join Brenda Irving.
Well, Joe, after that first Ottawa possession, it looked like it might be all Renegades, but the Ticats were able to get some of that momentum back out.
That's 30 minutes of football. You know, you play 60 minutes, and you know what? They're going to make plays. They're a good team. You know, I don't care what the record is. They're well coached. They haven't got some breaks, but this is a football game.
Danny McManus is really moving the ball well. What do you tell your defense at the half?
Well, they're converting on second downs, and we gotta make sure that they don't take the ball and drive it down and put points on the board.
Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks very much.
Let's go back to Brian.
Thank you, Brenda. Halftime, and the Ottawa Renegades out in front of the Hamilton Ticats. Sean Millington, how do you explain this Hamilton team? 1 minute, they're stinking out the stadium. They look like they won't win a game in our lifetime. The next minute, they come back McManus to yeast.
Well, hey, Brian, I got to say, this is vintage Hamilton Tiger Cats. Like as you said, 1 minute, they're doing great stuff, and that's what I've been saying about Hamilton all along. They play great football, and then they do something just unbelievably stupid, and that's the big challenge. I mean, we saw the flea flicker earlier on, and that's just the sort of thing, people trying too hard.
Yeah. Greg, quick thoughts on that first half?
Well, just the inconsistency is unbelievable. It's been going back and forth. But one thing that I do like is that Ken Austin's done a good job creating a simple game plan for Kerry Joseph, and he's been able to stay within it. A couple of bad decisions in the first going into the second quarter that hurt them a little bit, but he stayed within the game plan. It's simple, and they're moving the ball and getting positive yards.
We'll take a break. Sean Millington and Greg Frères will have highlights and first half analysis when we come back to Ottawa. Live from Ottawa, you're watching the CFL on CBC.
More powerful Toyota Camry. Feel proud. Bulletproof Monk on DVD Tuesday.
So everything's okay?
Yeah,
Studying hard, I'm sure.
of course.
So you don't need anything.
No.
You're sure?
Mom,
Yeah?
I really miss you.
I really miss you too.
CIBC Online Banking makes it easy to take care of the things that matter.
That's my mom.
The Canadian wild, where only the strong survive. Like the Bombardier Traxxter Max, the world's first two-rider quad. And the new Outlander, so tough it was named ATV of the Year. So other ATVs, be warned. Out here, there's a place for things that don't have what it takes to survive. Bombardier ATVs. Follow no one. Now with free extended coverage, and not just 6 months like most, but a full 3 years.
Hell has come out of hiding. This Friday, an epic adventure will begin. Once upon a time in Mexico.
Can you dig it?
Opens Friday.
And on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon, another big crowd here at Frank Clair Stadium. By the way, the Renegades lead the Eastern Conference in attendance. If you're just joining us, Sean Millington, Greg Frères, I'm Brian Williams. Ottawa up by a touchdown. Let's have a look at the first half highlights. Sean Millington, we begin with you. It looked like the Renegades would blow them out early.
Well, I made the allusion earlier to vintage Hamilton football, and this is the kind of problem you run into when people are trying too hard. Troy Saunders thinks, hey, I'll just help out my buddy. Oh, I see the run. I'm going to step up. I'm going to take the play. Oh, no, there goes my receiver behind me. And there's a touchdown. That's the kind of thing that we see Hamilton doing time and time again.
All right, I said it looked like it would be a blowout, but hang on. Big surprise, the Ticats, McManus come back.
Back and forth, and this was set up by a great interception by Hamill. I should say great. It was tossed up. I tell you what, this is the first of 2 touchdowns for Yeast. Nice pass by Danny McManus, read the zone, placed it where he needed to, set up, put them on the board for Hamilton. And a little bit of dance going on.
This is what I like to see, a little bit of dancing, because Lord knows that Hamilton has not had a lot to dance for.
Celebrate.
He likes to see the dancing. Joe Pau said last week, no dancing for Ottawa. Let's continue with the highlights. everyone was writing off Joe Mumford.
Well, hey, people have been questioning Joe Mumford's ability. Is he still be able to get those sacks? And I say, heck yeah, obviously. Look at this guy. You see those pipes? Those are an axe that is cutting down a tree called Kerry Joseph, and he hits the turf hard. Joe Mumford still has what it takes to be the premier defensive end in this league.
Now, at the end of the half, Greg Frères talked about Kerry Joseph, the Ottawa quarterback. He's huge.
He's 220 pounds,
like
man.
a fullback. Let's take a look at his run.
Well, we've seen him throw the ball like crazy tonight. He's been throwing that ball with a lot of power, and then all of a sudden he needs to take off and run, and he can do this. The athlete that we talked about at the beginning of the show sets up this Rannick run that puts them 18-10 at this point. But I tell you what, this guy's an athlete. Here's Rannick's run right here. I tell you what, it's great. This guy is an athlete. I tell you what, you got to give him a lot of credit this first half.
All right, very quickly, late in the first half, it looked like here we go again, Vaughn with the interception.
Well, hey, you know, you see it. Here we go. Vaughn picks off Danny Mac. Danny Mac makes a poor choice here, but it's once again Hamilton. He manages to come back. He managed to recover from a bad situation. Like Darren alluded to earlier, he could have went into the tank. He could have said, I'm not going to throw the deep ball, but they come back, and it's the Jekyll and Hyde Hamilton all over again.
Now, here's the final highlight of the first half, and Hamilton, unlike in previous games when they give up a late score, they come back and score one on their own. Here's the play that sets it up.
And this, well, I tell you what, this has just been a yo-yo game. We've talked about this a ton in this halftime show, but this is Yee's second touchdown. And I tell you what, great concentration going down the sidelines. This guy is for real.
At the half, the Ottawa Renegades up by a touchdown over the Hamilton Ticats. Will Hamilton go to 0-12, or will they win their first game of the year? Stay with us. You're watching the CFL on CBC.
Time to let you know what's going on in and around Essex County for the next week or so. 80 Knox Sherman Recreation Complex is offering a 7-week series of Tai Chi classes beginning on Thursday, September 11th. Call for further details. College Avenue Community Center will begin a 7-week series of Rhythm Rascals for preschoolers on Thursday, September 11th. Classes give your child a chance to run, skip, and have lots of fun. Call for more information. The Fiesta Bridge Club is offering Bridge for Beginners on Thursday afternoons beginning September 11th at the Optimus Community Center. Call Carl for details. The Canadian National Institute for the Blind is holding a Macular Degeneration Low Vision Conference on Friday, September 12th. Pre-registration is required. Call for more information. Community Calendar is a public service of CBC Television in Windsor. If you wish to promote something on Community Calendar, please phone, fax, or email us at least 3 weeks in advance.
Bask in the beauty and grace of world-class show jumping as Spruce Meadows features the BMO Financial Group Nations Cup, tonight at 7 on CBC Television.
The action heats up on the road to the Grey Cup. The Ottawa Renegades raid Montreal to try and steal 2 points against the league-leading Alouettes. The CFL on CBC, September 14th.
This September, CBC brings you the best movies in the world. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the Golden Globe-winning portrayal of Winston Churchill, The Gathering Storm.
There may be a war. We shall win.
The miniseries that captivated the nation.
I came to Ottawa to make a point to make it.
Trudeau, and Academy Award-winning Best Picture, Gladiator. Sizzling cinematic masterpieces, only on CBC.
Back pain. It can affect more than your back. New Robax Platinum, a special combination of 2 active ingredients. One to relieve back pain, the other to relax tense back muscles. New Robax Platinum, helping you walk away from back pain.
The CFL, a history of excellence. Brought to you by Robax Platinum, helping you walk away from back pain.
Russ Jackson is simply the greatest Canadian quarterback ever. Out of Westdale High School and McMaster University in 1958, he joined the Ottawa Rough Riders, had a brilliant 12-year career. His ability to run the football overshadowed only by his ability to throw it. He led the league in passing for 5 straight years, earning 3 Shenley Awards as the league's outstanding player. But his greatest moments were in his 4 championship games, where he threw a record 8 touchdowns and 3 times was crowned a Grey Cup champion. Russ Jackson, a Canadian football legend. And in a stadium that Russ Jackson knows well, the Ottawa Renegades up by a converted touchdown at the half. We'll take a break and return with the second half from Ottawa. You're watching the CFL on CBC.
This year, to get our holiday started on the right foot, we went to Canadian Tire.
To get this, the new MotoMaster power inverter. Just plug it into your car's cigarette lighter, and you've got a convenient 110-volt electrical outlet.
That gives you enough power to run a portable TV VCR unit, perfect for keeping the kids entertained on the long drive, or running my laptop so I can catch up with work on the road.
You can charge the batteries on your cell phone, your camcorder, your electric razor, even your cordless drill.
Obviously, he never leaves home without his tools.
It's also great around the campsite to keep things clean and keep things cool.
And on the boat for a little music or light when you need it.
Stay connected wherever you go.
The 175-watt MotoMaster power inverter is only $39.99, and the 400-watt with 2 plugs is only $59.99. Another innovative product found only at Canadian Tire stores and online.
You the artist?
Yes, I am.
He's an artist too.
Really? And you work with oils, watercolors, acrylics?
Meats.
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 Veggies.
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 Bread.
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 You see, at Subway, it's about making things fresh. Fresh. Now you're getting it.
Try any one of our delicious Subway Select sandwiches like the Chipotle Southwest Steak and Cheese or the Sweet Onion Chicken Teriyaki. You gotta try it.
Now that's a nice piece.
That's a coat rack.
Subway, eat fresh.
Hey, that thing got a Hemi? Yeah. Sweet.
The all-new Dodge Ram Heavy Duty.
Did you mean the Charger? Because, you know, that's got a Hemi, too.
Now with a 345 horsepower, 5.7-liter Hemi Magnum. Ram Heavy Duty. Enough muscle to grab Motor Trend's 2003 Truck of the Year award.
The CFL on CBC, brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. And by Subway, fresh-made sandwiches on fresh-made bread.
Touchdown separates these two Eastern rivals as we head to the second half. But first, let's join Brenda Irving.
Well, Ron, a little bit of everything for your club in that first half. Let's start with the positives in the way Danny McManus was moving the ball down the field.
Well, I think that, you know, we hurt ourselves a little bit, let them have that first play. You know, you got to expect something like that. Then we turned it over for a touchdown. But you know what? We stepped up. We made some plays. Some guys made some plays when they had the opportunity to do it. And we came back with a minute and got that touchdown back. So, you know, we got a whole 30 minutes to play football. Let's just try to do it right.
Now, the mistakes, they hurt the club, probably cost them the lead. Is it a matter of the guys just pushing too hard for that first win?
That happens sometimes, and that, you know, you got to worry about that. But, you know, when you're at halftime in a football game, just go play.
Let's go upstairs now to Chris and Darren.
Thanks, Brenda. That's an upbeat coach, even though they're down by 7. I think he senses that things are a little bit better here than they've been in the past few weeks.
I think he senses that the last 3 or 4 weeks, beginning with those Montreal games, that the team has played better. And despite their record, they're 0-11, okay, but he's seeing the effort from his team, and that's really all he can control is the effort of his football team.
One thing I'm seeing up in the booth, there's a lot more room this week with you here and not the big right tackle. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting second half because Ottawa really felt some heat to follow up on last week's big game, and you know what Ron Lancaster's been going through week after week in this frustrating season, trying to avoid a 12 straight loss. And Joe Paopao knew that this was not going to be an easy afternoon. All hanging up, and Yeast who had that big catch, and now just a step perhaps from breaking that. Brought down by Keaton Cromartie as he crossed the 40-yard line. There are the numbers first half.
Pretty even there. You look at the total yards, 240 to 208, only because of the rushing. The Ottawa's rushed for more yards, but pretty even. Time of possession about 3 minutes apart. It really reflects the football game fairly well because it's been a well-played football game. Interesting choice, for Ottawa to kick off twice, to take the win in the fourth. I mean, to me, it doesn't seem like that windy of a day, and to give up 2 possessions, I don't know if it's worth it.
You're right. You look at the flag, and it's relatively limp now. And McManus to the air, and he has Plummer, who gets away. And Chad Plummer finally downed inside the 40-yard line by Gerald Vaughn. Ron Lancaster told us yesterday the first thing about his offense, we got to get Plummer the ball, and they finally do.
Yeah, he was saying that yesterday, and Danny McManus was saying, yeah, I'd love to get Plummer the ball. He's a great athlete and can do a lot of things, but he doesn't know the system that well. But there he's one-on-one coverage again, as we showed with Archie Amerson earlier, beats his guy and gets a big gain.
And a first down at the Ottawa 40. McManus, good protection over the middle, and another completion to Plummer. So Plummer getting on the same page here early in the second half.
Plummer's on the outside, just gives a good head move to get the defensive back to soften up, runs it in. A couple receivers in the same area, but Danny puts the ball right on the money. And maybe Coach Lancaster went into halftime and said, listen, Danny, I want to get Plummer the football. Get him the ball somehow. Don't know how.
I think it'd be easier for Plummer to catch up a bit, a former quarterback at Cincinnati. Trying to process a new offensive system. Here's Davis inside. Good running room. And finally hauled down at the 13-yard line. Close to another Cat first down.
Well, whatever Coach Lancaster said at halftime, it's worked. And again, I'll have to go back to these 2 possessions that Ottawa's given Hamilton by kicking off twice. But getting Troy back into the football game, you spread them out with those 2 nice passes. Offensive line moves them back, and you pick up 10 yards.
Mike Mihalik tossing down a former teammate, Cromartie. And Davis, a little sidestep, and not much there. Ball was dropped, but the whistle had gone.
Yeah, again, Troy, he's an extra effort guy, second effort guy. But again, that ball, if we see the replay, was hanging out there, and he took a hit after he was down on the ground, but the ball did pop loose late.
We asked Ron Lancaster, do you talk to him about trying to put the ball away or carry it any different? But there it is.
Yeah, it was a fairly close. He was down, but again, that ball was hanging out in that right arm, which we've seen a couple times the last 2 weeks.
Excuse me, Davis, that was a second down run, and he does move the chains for a first down, and that's what we're talking about. He has been a great runner in this league, but this year he has had trouble holding on to the pigskin. And that one perhaps the most costly. So first down, and Danny McManus sizes it up, look one way into the end zone, touchdown, and it's Plummer again for the major score. Third catch of the drive, and the Tiger Cats come out of the dressing room at halftime on fire.
Big drive for Chad Plummer, but give McManus a lot of credit here. He was looking all the way to the left for Archie Amerson. He pushed it. He wanted Archie to get open. Then he gives up right there, and he has Plummer open working on the backside, and they get the touchdown. Plenty of time to throw the football there. Great job by the O-line protecting McManus.
Flag down on the convert, which has tied this game, pending Bud Steen's decision.
Offside. Ottawa 23. Penalty will be applied on the kickoff. Convert is good.
Sejour was offside, and the Tiger Cats are right back on even terms here in Ottawa.
You the artist?
Yes, I am.
He's an artist too.
Really? And you work with oils, watercolors, acrylics?
Meats.
Meats.
Veggies.
Veggies.
Bread.
Bread.
You see, at Subway, it's about making things fresh.
Now you're getting it.
Try any one of our delicious Subway Select sandwiches like the Chipotle Southwest Steak and Cheese or the Sweet Onion Chicken Teriyaki. You gotta try it.
Now that's a nice piece.
That's a coat rack.
Subway, eat fresh.
Hey! That thing got a Hemi, right? Yeah! Well, now I got a Hemi, too. But I got something you don't got. Check this out.
The Dodge Ram 1500.
Hemi legend continues. Grab Dodge's best powertrain warranty ever. And now get 0% financing only at your Chrysler Jeep Dodge retailer.
Hey.
Hey.
I wanted to thank you for last night.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.
No, really, it meant a lot.
You weren't exactly, willing.
I know. Look, I don't usually do things like that.
It's always the first time.
Yeah, apparently.
So what did your wife say when you got home?
Well, she said to say thanks.
Hey. What are friends for, right?
Second touchdown pass of the game for Danny McManus, an efficient 5-play drive, capped by the Chad Plummer catch in the end zone.
Look, he's looking left the whole way, looking the DBs off, and there's a clock in the defensive back's head, especially with Danny McManus. You're so used to him getting rid of the ball, but when he holds on to it, and I used to say this to him all the time, hold on to it for that extra 1 or 2 seconds and we'll break open.
Kickoff forces Bendros back inside his 5. And Bendros chased down from behind. Franz Clarkson will pin him inside the 20. Well, the key on that last drive was the McManus to Plummer hookup.
Just as Coach Lancaster said, get the ball to Chad Plummer, and he paid off on this drive. 3 catches, culminating in Danny's second touchdown pass of the game. And you know what a big thing is? That extra point, they kicked the extra point through, and it's just a small offsides that got on, tacked onto the kickoff, but that gives them awful field position. They're on their own 19-yard line. It has to do with that offsides on the extra point.
Ottawa had an early advantage in field position in this game. They start in a hole, but there's Bendros, and he stumbled as he crossed the 35-yard line. Every time he gets his hands on the ball, though, you have a feeling he's going to go a long way.
Yeah, he's really been exciting with the football after the catch, and it's a zone coverage here. He's just finding the soft spot, gets it, and now here's when the play starts. He makes a nice spin move there, works upfield, and creates more yardage for his team.
Bendros has 88 yards on the game, 17 to improve the field position. There's a flag as Joseph just throws the football away.
Smart play by Kerry Joseph there. He saw his receiver had moved illegally. They didn't blow the play dead, which they're supposed to do. So the play was running, so he just tossed it away.
Offside. Ottawa 82. First down repeated.
That's DJ Fleck, who left early. The numbers look rather good for Joseph.
I think the one deep one is the touchdown on the flea flicker, but besides that, he looks like he throws to his right a lot. You see the 7 for 7 on the short ones, but he's been very effective. 14 for 18, 184 yards. It's a good football game for him.
So it's 1st and 15 back at the 31. 6 receivers out, and he looks deep down that left side and overthrows DJ Fleck. Here was my question for you at halftime. Is Kerry Joseph running enough? He had the one run down inside the 5-yard line, but that really was it in the first half.
Well, it's an obvious thing to say when you see someone this athletic and this talented. Just run the football. Drive. You're doing so great, you can run the football, but he's evolving as a total quarterback. He runs only when he needs to. But what he does really well is buy himself time in the pocket. And I think that's more important for a guy like him than to just run and get first downs.
So it's 2nd and 15. Here they come, and Joseph steps up. And this time he will run, and Kerry Joseph has the first down across the 50-yard line.
He's looking for a late hit here, but just what you said. Now here's a perfect example. It's 2nd and 10. His guys are covered, and because he doesn't tuck it down and run all the time, they got no one spying him, no one looking after him, because he hasn't really burnt him with that. But here, when they need it the most, it seems, he'll tuck it down and use his athletic ability and pick up the first down.
18 yards, but so often young quarterbacks in their maturity level, they rely on their legs too much, and that's what you're saying. It's good that he is trying to stand in there and throw the ball. Here's Ronick, and a flag down as Ronick barrels his way across midfield. And the fans sense that this call is coming against the Renegades, and we've got an injured Ottawa player.
Holding, Ottawa 67. First down repeated.
Abu Meshrek called for holding. And Aubrey Cummings is the injured player.
Didn't get a great look at how Cummings would get hurt. And there's Yo Murphy. I played some football with Yo. He was on the '94 Grey Cup team with British Columbia. His name, well, his name is really Llewellyn Murphy, which you can understand why Yo may have wanted to be called Yo as opposed to Llewellyn. But a great football player. Played in the Super Bowl for the St. Louis Rams. You know, he's played in NFL Europe. He's been around.
I thought we'd see him more today, actually. He had a couple of first down catches last week. And in the Super Bowl 2002, the very first kickoff of the game was fielded by Yo Murphy, the former BC Lion. Well, look at those go. Spent some time in Tampa Bay, Minnesota, finished up in Kansas City. A good NFL career, but he loves to play, and he wanted to get back here and keep hauling in catches. And Aubrey Cummings still shaken up and not moving yet.
Well, as I was about to say this, as we saw him on the ground, the receivers are downfield blocking, and you have your back to the whole play and to the running back. And sometimes when you're holding your block, doing your job, the back or someone trying to tackle him rolls up on your legs, and that's what happened to Cummings in that instance. He's just out there working hard trying to get a block, and he got his knee rolled up on by the running back.
6-year vet, Aubrey Cummings, a Hamilton native himself, makes his way to the Renegade sidelines. Had some good years in Calgary. So 1st and 20. Kerry Joseph over the middle, and he guns that pass to Sherrod Gideon, his first catch of the day, and that gets the 10-yard penalty and a couple to boot back for the Renegades. It'll be 2nd and 7.
This is a nice throw by Joseph coming over the middle. Again, attacking where the defenses are usually soft, over the middle. Fisher just a step too late in man coverage to get to Gideon.
So no huddle. And out of the shotgun, flags fly as there was early movement.
Well, they've done a great job. They get stuck in this 1st and 20, which is an awful place to be. Procedure. But they've got more than half of it back to get to the 2nd and 7. And now that penalty hurts them. Gets it back to 2nd and over 10, which is the position you don't want to be in. Anytime you're 2nd and 10 or more, your playbook is so limited, and defenses can just eat you up.
And yet on the flip side, I know Joe Montfort was talking about this yesterday. They did such a good job, they felt, last week in 1st down, and then 2nd and long, the Tiger Cats kept shooting themselves in the foot defensively, allowing big plays. So the penalty was against Val St. Germain, so it's 2nd and 12 now. Here comes the blitz. Joseph sidesteps and throws downfield. Is it a catch? Well, the officials, I think, are going to rule a catch for Denny Montana. Boy, that looked like it may have skipped off the carpet. First time we've called Denny's name, and the Tiger Cats are enraged at the call.
First of all, Woodson misses the tackle. He's coming free with the blitz. And then Joseph lays it out there, and we take a look at it.
That ball off the turf.
I thought for sure it was off the turf when I saw it in real time. As I watched the replay, I almost think he got his hands underneath. I don't want to go against you, though. I'd have to see another look at it. They're still talking about something. I don't know if they're where to spot it or incomplete or what.
Pass is complete. It's 1st down.
Well, Bud Steen.
You know, it does seem another look that he gets his hands underneath. See if his hands are underneath the football. That's.
I think it bounces up, but
when in doubt, give it to the receiver. That's my motto.
I know that's your philosophy. And the Renegades won't complain. But the Tiger Cats didn't like it. A direct snap, Roddick to the 40. And he has 4 more. Renegades have outrushed Hamilton today, and they have done that against their opponents in the past 5 straight games, averaging 169 yards on the ground. And their opponents approaching another 100-yard game here this afternoon. Second down and 6. Here comes Montford. Joseph sidestepped him, takes off again. And he has leveled. The helmet went flying into the Ottawa bench, but Gary Joseph right up to let him know the chains have been moved. That was Tim Cheatwood, and I know they're talking about the big tree.
Well,
They lost
Joseph,
a branch there.
You're a great athlete, and you're a big kid, but you're not going to make a living by running into Tim Cheatwood like this. Watch the helmet pop off. Boom! Oh! Well, hi, I'm Tim Cheatwood. What's your name? Nice to meet you.
Wow. That's some kind of contact. But Joseph just gets up and says, we're moving the football. Another first down off the running ability of Kerry Joseph. And again, he gets past the oncoming rush and throws that one into the Ottawa bench. That time, Kareem Grant was bearing down on the quarterback.
Again, I mean, it seems like I'm repeating myself a lot, but a nice job athletically by Joseph by avoiding the sack, even just to throw this football away. He's got nothing, throw it away, but he took what could have been a 15, 20-yard loss and got it back to the line of scrimmage.
Eric Tillman made an interesting comment yesterday. He said he's a little bit Reggie Slack, a little bit Tracy Ham. And, you know, Reggie Slack, when he was running with healthy knees, was such a force, big-size guy. And there's the Tracy Ham end of the thing with a pass up the middle, still going. What a run, DJ Flick. Little determination on that catch and run.
Well, this is one of the plays with the guy coming in across the middle, and Joseph really zips it in there. A nice catch because you know you're going to get hit. Not only absorbing the hit, but refusing to be tackled. He gets all the way down to the 5-yard line on great second and third effort.
Not many guys keep skipping after Rob Hitchcock's lowered the boom, but he did. Full house backfield, Ronick, left side. Josh Ronick, touchdown! His second 5-yard touchdown score of the game. And the Renegades pull ahead again.
Ottawa talked about not having a letdown after the Montreal football game, and just with their intensity, their effort out there, their second and third efforts from Ronick, from Flick on that catch, you know they're motivated to win this football game and back up a great victory in Montreal with a victory here today.
Tynes makes it a 7-point game as Kerry Joseph engineers a long scoring march.
Hi.
You, Karen?
Steve.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Thanks.
What's this?
Our wedding song. No, seriously, I want like 12 kids.
Get an MP3 player and messaging on your phone with the Nokia 3300, only from Rogers AT&T. Buy now and get a free Tommy Hilfiger backpack.
This September, CBC brings you the best movies in the world. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the Golden Globe-winning portrayal of Winston Churchill,
A new level.
The Gathering Storm.
There may be a war. We shall win.
The miniseries that captivated the nation.
I came to Ottawa to make a point to make it.
Trudeau, and Academy Award-winning Best Picture, Gladiator. Sizzling cinematic masterpieces, only on CBC.
George, give me a sandwich. A sandwich? Leo, this is no time to be thinking of food.
George, I said a sandwich, George. A sandwich.
Here you go, Leo.
George, what do I need to win?
A birdie. That's the only thing that's going to help you here, Leo.
A birdie, eh? Hello, birdie.
Leo, it's stuck in the tree.
Yeah, you told me I needed a birdie to win. I love this game. Piece of cake.
Drop into family-owned and operated Rasco Chrysler Jeep Amherstburg.
Well, a 13-play, 91-yard drive. It chewed up 7 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, we see if we could freeze it right there. This is Thomas right here, I know, on the far right of your screen. Watch him throughout the play and see if he has a nice chance coming around right there. One-on-one, your best linebacker supposedly against the running back. And Josh is just so low to the ground, so hard to bring down. He gets off that tackle and gets into the end zone.
Former high school wrestler, a low center of gravity. Here's Yeast, a little stutter step, nearly throws the defenders, but he's pulled down by Donnie Ruiz at the 35-yard line. Well, remember to check out the CFL on CBC Online and tell us who you think played tough today. Vote for the Warrior of the game at the end of the third quarter. Josh Ronick, certainly a candidate, along with Kerry Joseph. Danny McManus for the Tiger Cats will get consideration today. Each week you can decide who the online Warrior of the Week is, only at cbc.ca/CFL. Gerald Bond's another candidate.
He's probably a candidate every week.
Well, they've been slugging it out toe-to-toe, and let's see if Hamilton can come right back. McManus up top, and a flag goes down. Ordway was in a battle, along with Tony Akins. And who are they calling here? The Renegades feel it's...
Pass interference. Ottawa 20. First down.
They were trying to do the sell that it was Ordway interfered with, but he draws the flag.
This is a tough call right here. Tony's running the streak route right up the field, which just means a go route. There's some arm jostling there, as it were, but that's very good coverage. You know, I'm torn. I used to play for the Ticats, and there's a BC guy covering them. I don't know what to do.
You can't go wrong there, but to me, the flag doesn't fly on that.
Yeah, it was good coverage.
Well, we know the Cats could use a break, but it's a tough one for Ottawa to swallow. McManus sets up, looks deep. He has an open man, and Aberson drops the ball. Another drop at the worst possible time.
Maybe Archie comes back to the huddle and says, Danny, the sun was in my eyes. I don't know where the sun is, but a huge play, second touchdown drop of the day. Danny again buying plenty of time. Great job by the offensive line. Archie all alone behind the defenders. And it's the ones that you're alone that you're thinking about. You go, boy, I'm in the end zone. This is a touchdown. He pins it against his body as opposed to letting his hands go out and catch it.
And after one like that, they're calling Archie Jughead because that hurts. 2nd and 10 from the 35. And he steps up as a man, and Amerson makes a good catch there, and a late flag. He had the first down, and let's see what that call is. And let's see if Amerson responds to the mistake like Troy Davis did last week when he ran angry late in the game.
Foul. Face mask. Ottawa 39. First down.
Gerald Bond got a piece of the grill.
That's a big play. It's a tough play on Amerson's part to come back after that drop. You know you're thinking about it as a receiver, and come back and make a tough catch in your hands with Gerald Vaughn draped all over you. Again, Danny McManus buying himself a lot of time. The offensive line giving him that time to throw the football.
And saying, Archie, I'm going right back at you.
Yeah, that's right.
Just like he gave Davis the ball the very next play after the fumble. So the Ticats trying to put it in the end zone. And that pass incomplete as he looked for Plummer.
Hamilton's been struggling with the drop ball throughout the season, and we've seen it a few times pop up today. First with Amerson, Akins on the possible touchdown catch in here. That one I didn't get a good view of who that was. There's Amerson again coming over the middle. So what, we got 5 clips right there. This one, the big one, obviously the possible touchdown. 3 of those are Archie's possible catches. So like you said, we'll see if he can redeem himself here.
2nd and 10 from the 12. Cats looking for the tying touchdown, and Yeast has it sail out of reach. Incomplete. And the field goal unit has to come on for the Tiger Cats.
Well, as they had to do in that first quarter with the drop with Aikens for the touchdown, they settled for a field goal. So hopefully after the drop of the touchdown from Archie, they can at least get 3 points out of this.
19-yard attempt by Osbaldiston, and was that Gerald Vaughn flying in? Oz makes it, and Vaughn came that close to a block.
Hey, that thing got a hammy?
Yeah.
Sweet.
The all-new Dodge Ram Heavy Duty.
Did you mean the Charger? Because you know that's got a Hemi too.
Now with a 345 horsepower, 5.7-liter Hemi Magnum. Ram Heavy Duty. Enough muscle to grab Motor Trend's 2003 Truck of the Year award.
Would you like to tell me what's been bothering you?
No, I don't like being outdoors.
Anything else?
Obviously, I have a lot of ticks.
What would you do if you had to change careers?
What, if I wasn't an antiques broker?
If you weren't a criminal?
You're a con man?
Con artist.
Academy Award winner Nicolas Cage in a Ridley Scott film.
How much you think we can take that guy for?
30 grand.
More.
Matchstick Men.
Would you say you set an example in your trade?
You bet I do.
Starts Friday, September 12th. CBC News reflecting the country one community at a time. Calgary.
Caracat. Prince Albert.
Windsor.
CBC reporters across the country are telling your story.
Around the world and here at home, CBC News, the source Canadians trust.
The action heats up on the road to the Grey Cup. The Ottawa Renegades raid Montreal to try and steal 2 points against the league-leading Alouettes. The CFL on CBC, September 14th.
Well, there's Gerald Vaughn, 12 block kicks in his distinguished CFL career. He was thinking about number 13 here.
Yeah, it would have been, again, coming off the short edge. You would think you'd have the extra guy blocking Gerald Vaughn's side because he's the kick blocker. But that would have been a tough one for the Ticats to swallow if that one got blocked.
Instead, it's a 4-point game as Ottawa scrimmages from their 35. Montford bearing down again. They've got him circled. And Joseph throws the long out. And the pass is caught for a short gain by Sherrod Gideon. Up at the 36. That was a tough 1-yard reception.
Yeah, again, he's looking for the screen here, but it must be covered fairly well. And you see Montford never giving up. Cheatwood not giving up, but a good job by Joseph again. It's not only just a 1-yard gain, which isn't much, but it's avoiding the big loss, which is so important, which he did well.
So 2nd and 9. And on the last series, a lot of 2nd and long conversions. Joseph shakes off Woodson. Now outside, hauled down, back inside the 30-yard line as they finally get to the Ottawa quarterback.
A great scheme a couple times. Sean Woodson has come free off the left edge, as you see him coming in number 17, but he's not making the tackle, to Joseph's credit, but just crazy pursuit by Thomas, getting after him and not letting him make a play.
Dave Thomas, the former Renegade middle linebacker, with the sack, and these Hamilton fans are thinking it might have been worth the trip here today. Great ball game, and maybe this is going to be Hamilton's day. Yeast back to take the one hopper. Flag for no yards. Yeast, nifty move, and finally is down. We have 2:09 to go, 3rd quarter. Good football game.
I want to thank you guys for coming out. Oh, Jamie, why don't you tell us what's new in IT? Try to keep it short.
Oh, well, we just implemented DFS and a new SAN. And also we enabled shadow copy for shared folders on our file servers. It enables users to get back lost documents on their own without calling IT. And it'll save us hundreds of thousands of dollars, which...
It'll do what?
With new Windows Server 2003, you can do more with less.
Automated system recovery.
30th game in Renegade history. Grey Cup launch weekend. This will be the site of the 2004 Grey Cup game. We've had an interesting afternoon of football. Troy Davis with the carry over the right side. Danny McManus has been sharp today. He'd like one back. The pass that Gerald Bond picked off for a touchdown.
Yeah, he's hitting on 50% there, but the big is 249 yards, 250 yards. That's good. Good day. 2 touchdowns. You're right. Both the picks, actually, I think he'd like to have back. That flea flicker interception in the end zone. And of course, the one that went the other way for the touchdown by Gerald Bond.
2 300-yard games for McManus this year. This is a season high in points with 28 and nearly pick number 3. And John Grace would like to have another shot at that football.
Yeah, it's a good thing John Grace doesn't have that good of hands. Again, McManus trying to exploit that middle of the field. I think he was looking for Troy Davis, maybe the running back down the middle of the field. And it's a good look if he just gets it to the backside over Grace, but he threw it too low, so Grace made a play on it.
So a 2 and out that time for the Cats. Good kick by Curry, and Bendros back inside his 10. Trying to swing wide. And then Spencer tracks him down from behind at the 15. We're in the final minute of the third quarter, a 4-point Ottawa lead. And again, at the end of the third quarter, your opportunity to vote online for the Warrior of the Game. And many contenders here today.
Great effort by Marcus Spencer on that last punt return. He got juked on the first one, actually allowed the returner to get outside. He hustled all the way back in to make the tackle and keep Ottawa inside their own 20.
So Kerry Joseph at the helm, trying to expand this lead. The play action, he rolls right, now looks downfield with the flag. DJ Flick stretching, couldn't bring it in, and there's a holding call that would have negated the catch anyway, going against Ottawa.
There again, going back to the play action with the shovel or shuttle pass, whatever you want to call it.
Holding. Ottawa 67. Penalties decline. Second down.
And again, what teams are starting to do is just tackle that possible receiver, which gives Joseph really no options except to run and huck it up deep to his wideout, who's just going deep.
Abu Meshrek charged for holding. It is declined. There's Ken Austin, former teammate of yours. Again, he is the quarterback coach and works in conjunction with Joe Powpow to help make the play calls for Kerry Joseph, who has input as well. And Joseph under pressure from Montford, wide open downfield, a catch for the fullback, Mike Maurer. And again, they are able to convert second and long here in the second half.
It's a tough thing to do, but this is what I want to see Kerry Joseph do. This is how you become great. He's scrambling, but he's not scrambling for the first down. He's buying time behind the line of scrimmage. Throws to a wide open, in this case, running back. Let him do the work, you know, just toss the ball to him, let him get the first down and take the hit.
Well, Joe makes the play calls, but he does ask his quarterback, what do you see? What do you want to call? What do you like and why? And he won't like that because there was early movement from Val St. Germain, one of the many former Tiger Cats on that.
Procedure. Ottawa 57.
Ottawa offensive line, along with Burns and Dittman.
Yeah, those are interesting matchups with these former Ticat players being on the offensive line, going against Timmy Cheatwood and Joe Montford. At least Joe Montford they used to see a lot of in practice. So it's making for a little trash talk down there on the field, as it were.
But there is some respect, and that's one thing the Ottawa guys were saying yesterday. We know they're winless, but a lot of our guys have been there, and they respect the players on the other side. And now, early movement again, and back-to-back, I believe, as the fast twitch fibers are running a little too quick down there.
This is when you come back to the huddle and go, okay, guys, let's call it on one. Can we handle that? Let's go on one.
Chris Burns that time. And maybe an indication that Cromartie and Montford and company are turning the heat up.
With the holding calls also in the jumping off sides, they're worried about Cheatwood. You're worried about Montford. So you see these penalties.
So So it's 1st and 20 after back-to-back procedure calls, and they do the direct snap. Roddick into the secondary and finally submarined at the 48-yard line. That's the final play of the third quarter, and a productive one for the Renegades.
Hey! That thing got a Hemi, right? Yeah! Well, now I got a Hemi, too! But I got something you don't got! Check this out!
The Dodge Ram 1500. The Hemi legend continues. Grab Dodge's best powertrain warranty ever. And now get 0% financing only at your Chrysler Jeep Dodge retailer.
You the artist?
Yes, I am.
He's an artist too.
Really? And you work with oils, watercolors, acrylics?
Meats.
Meats.
Veggies.
Veggies.
Bread.
Bread.
You see, at Subway, it's about making things fresh. Now you're getting it.
Try any one of our delicious Subway Select sandwiches like the Chipotle Southwest Steak and Cheese or the Sweet Onion Chicken Teriyaki. You gotta try it.
Now that's a nice piece.
That's a coat rack.
Subway, eat fresh!
The CFL on CBC, brought to you by Subway, fresh-made sandwiches on fresh-made bread, and by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horn.
Welcome back to Frank Clair Stadium. Largest crowd of the year, 26,588, and they've been on a roller coaster ride this afternoon. The home side up by 4 as we head into quarter number 4. This is the franchise that leads the Eastern Division in attendance. The second-year Renegade franchise, and football's back in a big way here in Ottawa, and these fans have come from Hamilton hoping that it's their day. Well, the majority of fans here are hoping this will be win number 5 on their way to maybe a home playoff date this season. 2nd and short, and Joseph plows ahead, and again, it was a 1st and 20, and the Hamilton Ticat defense can't shut the door. Let's check the numbers through 3 quarters.
Focus on those rushing yards. Still, the Ticats, who the offensive line thought they could get a lot of yards. They actually mentioned the number 200 yards rushing against Ottawa today. Well, they're stuck at 40 going into the 4th quarter. Ottawa's rushed the ball very well. Both Joseph and Josh Ronick have done it for 137.
At time of possession extended in Ottawa's favor in large part because of the 7-minute scoring drive in the 3rd quarter. A lot of time for Joseph, and he guns it downfield, and whoops! Aubrey Cummings couldn't find the handle. So the drops are going both ways. Veteran guys who usually make those catches, Amerson earlier, and now Cummings.
Nice play action fake. You have him wide open over the middle, and I mean, obviously a ball you got to catch. It's a big play.
Here we go again, though, 2nd and long. Cheatwood was held at bay that time by Chris Burns. Here comes Montfort. Joseph steps up, and that pass was behind Gideon. And this time the Ticats defense stands.
But Joseph got some late pressure. You see, he has all sorts of time to begin on this play, but then Woodson brings late pressure after he sees no one in his zone, and oh, he's close. He's close to taking a couple steps there and getting a late hit called on him.
Next week, these Tiger Cats will play the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who are in action tonight against the BC Lions. A huge Western Division tilt. Yeast brought down quickly. Donnie Ruiz has had a good day on special teams for the Renegades. native of Stony Creek, so he grew up watching the Cats as well. And there's a penalty against Hamilton. Too many men.
Well, if it's going to give him an automatic first down, this is a big call.
Hamilton, first down Ottawa.
Wow.
Well, finally stopped them on that second and long you've been talking about, and then they do this on the punt.
That'll test the patience of the head coach. What were we saying about, well, imploding, shooting yourself in the foot, whatever term, beating themselves, and that's another one that you file in that category.
Yeah, you sure do. That's you know, illegal substitution. That's almost on the coaching end, the special teams coaching end of it.
I don't know if the penalty is reason for the term implode, but Ron Lancaster, if he gets many more of those, he might. There's Joseph running it, and Spencer drops him at the 43-yard line, gain of 5.
You know, I occasionally like to give myself credit, and I said earlier in the game that the ends are crashing down on that handoff. This time Joseph takes the handoff, and you see Montfort come crashing down, get caught inside. But the good thing about this is team speed. Look at Marcus Spencer chase down Joseph. And of course, Woodson's there to help him out.
So 5 for Joseph. 2nd and 5. Short drop, and the quick hitter falls incomplete, but there's the flag as Troy Saunders was on the back of Bendros.
Well, they're obviously going to call interference on Troy Saunders here. Again, we'd need a closer look at it to see exactly, but it was well covered. I mean, it's tough to cover that quick slant when it's the guy right next to the quarterback.
Pass interference, Ottawa 86.
Excuse me.
Decline, 3rd down.
Yeah, Saunders was the most surprised guy in the house when they said the flag's on you. Well, I don't know where you get Bendros.
Wow. I don't know if that's a makeup call or what, but Troy did. I didn't think Troy had it.
Yeah, they made it up because I'm not sure where they came up with that one, but in any event, Lawrence Tynes will.
It's the imaginary offensive interference call. It never happened.
Yeah, in that sense, it probably was the right call. No call. It's 3rd down. 49 yards out. Lawrence Tynes, a heavy leg. And boy, this guy is as close to automatic as you're going to get. As he nails another, and it's a 7-point lead.
Don't talk during the game. Text messaging with Rogers AT&T Wireless, official sponsor of the CFL. Imagine.
My name is Max and I'm a champ. My foot got caught in a lawn tractor accident. I wear my artificial leg to play soccer, to run, and lots of other stuff. If it can happen to me, it can happen to you. I go on safety walks and tell other kids to play safe.
Did you play anywhere near this busy road?
No! Spot the danger before you play. Play safe.
George, what do I need to win this game?
Leo, you need a hole-in-one.
Hole-in-one, George? It's going to call for my #1 wood.
Here you go, Leo. A Rasico special.
Hello, hole-in-one.
Leo.
Why?
If you get on the green, remember, there's a lot of roll to it.
A lot of roll? Well, that calls for a ball change. No problem. Here we go.
Give us your best shot.
Yeah. Piece of cake. I love this game.
Rasico Chrysler Jeep Amherstburg.
Just under 3 minutes into the 4th quarter here in Ottawa. Reminder, our next game will be next Sunday. Note, it's our first Sunday game of the year. Anthony Calvillo and the Alouettes want another shot at the Renegades after that wild 43-38 loss to Ottawa here. And it's become a good rivalry between the young upstarts and the defending Grey Cup champions.
I guess we'll find out if that first win was a fluke.
Well, the Hamilton Tiger Cats will take any description of their first win. There's Amerson with that little inside shovel pass, and we're going to go back to Darren Flutie's Canadian Tire game notes.
Offensively for the Ticats, we said seal the deal with your opportunities in the red zone, and they have come across with points. 2 TDs, 2 field goals. They've matched their highest output of the year, so good job. Release the Hounds, 2 sacks, 3 hurries. I think Cheatwood and Montfort have played great football today, so they've done well on both categories.
Second down, and a pass that skipped in front of a stumbling Amerson. Incomplete. That was quick, as the punting unit must come on for the Tiger Cats. We get a chance to check the Renegade Canadian Tire game notes.
Well, Ottawa's offense has been very good. 412 yards with some time left in the fourth quarter. I expected a little more movement, though. Defensively, wait for the catastrophe. Well, they've created those 2 big interceptions, which has done well. But the Cats, for their good points, have maintained drives and actually come away with points when they've gotten near the end zone.
Might give you the benefit of the doubt and add in the Amerson drop, but contributed to that. Pendross, and he is taken down by Aram Grant. And another reminder that later tonight on CBC, Canada's show jumpers compete against 6 other countries at Spruce Meadows. It's the BMO Financial Group Nations Cup. 7 local, 8 Atlantic, 8:30 in Newfoundland. Kerry Joseph, a 7-point cushion here early in the fourth quarter. Good field position to expand their lead. And again, he talked about now reading quicker, processing information quicker, and did anybody at quarterback process quicker the reads than Kent Austin?
No, Kent Austin is an excellent Canadian Football League offensive mind. And who better to coach you than Kent Austin? Good. Remember those great years in Saskatchewan with Elgard and Fairholm.
1989 Grey Cup. What a shootout that was.
Speaking of Ray,
all kinds of weapons there over a 6,000-yard season. Jeff Fairholm could get behind defenders, couldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kent Austin turned those guys into great slot backs. I mean, they had the tools, but Kent, I mean, actually did a fairly good job of turning me into a decent receiver.
McManus and Austin were a tandem in BC. This pass is caught. Sherrod Gideon, touchdown. 63 yards. Just like Austin designed it.
I don't know about that one. In the middle of the play, as the ball's floating up there, I'm about to say another bad decision by Kerry Joseph, resulting in a Brandon Hamilton pick. But Brandon just gets outraced to the football by Gideon, and it turns into a huge play for the Ottawa Renegades.
Well, Sherrod Gideon had a touchdown catch of the year. And now Tynes to add the extra point. And for the second time this afternoon, the Renegades have opened up a 14-point lead.
The critics put it on a pedestal. They called Accord the benchmark. Car and Driver named it to their 10 best list for the 17th time. The NHTSA gave it 5 stars for safety. And now, the Honda Summer Sales Event features 4.8% purchase financing on our much-praised Accord. Visit your Honda dealer and drive the car critics love and other cars look up to.
It's been a trying year for Canada's cattle producers. So Pizza Hut is pledging a portion of their Canadian A or Meat Lovers pizza sales to the Canadian Cattlemen's Association Recovery Strategy. So call Pizza Hut at 310-1010 and kickstart the economy with your mouth.
Big Monk on DVD Tuesday. The finest country has to offer. Non-stop music. All-time favorites. Post-fall brand. Carolyn Dawn Johnson. Aaron Lyne. Terry Clark. It's the best country in the country. From Calgary, the 2003 Canadian Country Music Awards. Monday at 8 on CBC. Brought to you in part by Kraft Cheese Whiz.
Longest pass reception of the year for the Ottawa Renegades. Sherrod Gideon with the 63-yard pass and run play from Kerry Joseph.
A nice long throw for throwing off of 1 foot and fading away, but again, he kind of put it up for grabs, but it really sums up what the Ticats are going through. That's a 50-50 ball that the Ottawa guy just came down with, and Gideon gets into the end zone.
Booming kick by Tynes, and Yeast to bring it out. And Craig Yeast stumbled as he crossed the 30 when it looked like it was opening up. Gerald Vaughn stopped him in his tracks as we join Brenda Irving.
Well, the 92nd Grey Cup will be held next year here in Ottawa. Today, Brad Waters, who's the president of the Renegades, you unveiled the official logo. It's hard to believe it's a year away, and plans are already underway.
It's kind of scary. We've been planning for 6 months, so it's kind of nice to let the thing out of the box and get going with selling tickets.
What will make a Grey Cup in Ottawa unique, do you think?
Nation's capital. Hasn't been here in 16 years. You know, the team has brought football back. It's such a great thing, a great community, and to have Montreal close by, it's just going to be a great celebration of football for the CFL.
A great year on and off the field for this club. Attendance really is gaining momentum in the capital city.
Yeah, we had a tough schedule earlier. We had 5 games in July and late June, so now we're getting into the fall games. Our biggest crowd since opening night, day 1, 26,500 a day. So, you know, things are really going well. The team's playing really well, and the fans are falling in love with this team, which is great to see.
Good luck in your preparation.
Thank you. There's a lot of work to be done.
Let's go up to Chris now.
You know, Mark McLaughlin went from the team up to the president's booth. It looks like Brad could go from the president's booth down, line up on the club, but it is too bad. There's only 2 more home games for the Renegades here. And a big one will be against Toronto on Thanksgiving Day. We'll have that for you here, and that might be for home field and perhaps even the lone playoff spot in the East. Joe Pow knows this one has not been banked yet as Danny McManus tries to engineer another comeback.
In the first play by Troy Davis picked up a first down. And now nice completion to Archie Amerson, puts him in the Renegade territory at the 50-yard line.
Okay, you know what I mean?
Here comes the blitz. McManus over the middle. Incomplete. He was trying to hook up with Tony Aikens. And that guy from Boston College was step for step.
Yes, he was. Well, there's a what we call in football a hot release, because he's getting the pressure. They're bringing more people than you can block, and he's expecting Tony to get inside of Ordway because the whole middle of the field's wide open. But, you know, Grace was also, John Grace, number 7, was hanging right in that vicinity too.
Crowd chanting defense now. 2nd and 10. Under 8.5 minutes to go. McManus has got to engineer a dramatic comeback. Going field. Incomplete. Kelly Wiltshire had to scramble back as Aikens got in behind that Ottawa defense.
Again, they're playing that pressure defense with a bump and run, one-on-one coverage with your receivers. Danny recognized it, throws it up to Aikens. He has him. It'll be interesting to see if Kelly gets a hand in there. Yeah, tough catch. It comes off of Wilshire's, the back of his arm. But that was a big drive for the Ticats. Now to have to punt it away and be down 2 scores, 2 touchdowns, I should say.
Need a big punt from Curry, maybe a fake. We don't see this from the Cats too often.
You better get rid of it.
And he throws it up. It's picked off. Clements with the interception. He could have knocked that to the turf and got a little better field position, but that'll pad a stat, and in any event, they turn it over. Well, there were some fakes that worked last week for Montreal. 3, in fact. I asked Ron Lancaster before the game, will you try something? He said, we haven't all year.
You know what?
Here they do.
This isn't a fake. no one was running a route. They just kind of peeked back and saw their punter running. So a couple guys tried to throw their arm up, but he's rolling out to the right. He's got no one really blocking for him, and he's got no one open. So he throws it up, which isn't a bad play. And you're right, he should have knocked it down, would have saved him 15 yards, but they have the ball nonetheless.
Roddick goes to work, and he finds good yards off the right side. Now, last week, this team put 43 points on the board against Montreal, and they back it up today with 42 more. So it has become an explosive offense. As you can see that the returns are rapidly improving here.
Yeah, those are against some very solid defenses. Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, Montreal, and even Hamilton is playing very good defense, especially last Monday on Labor Day against the Argos.
Out of a power eye, 3 receivers left side. And a flag down as the play doesn't get off on time.
Illegal procedure. Ottawa 55. First down was needed.
Chris Burns, who again was the offensive lineman of the week, quick to move that time. And here are some of the storylines of this game. Joseph again over 300 yards for the 4th time this season. A couple of touchdown catches. And McManus and Joseph have had a pretty good duel here this afternoon. And the guy with less experience is having a better day of it. Spencer pulls down Joseph on that run.
They've really found some answers offensively for the Renegades. And it's a combination of a few things. Getting Kerry Joseph at quarterback, having Kent Austin, having Joe Powell, and together they're making this thing work. And now they're a real threat offensively, where last year you didn't have to worry about the Renegades offensively too much.
Better quarterback than they did, so hard to assess how much better the receiving core is from a year ago. You know Kent Austin's made a real impact here as well. A lot of movement in the receiving core last year. They look like they've got the right group now. And there's Montana decked, and there won't be a flag, and these fans will show their displeasure, and they've got a case that time.
They sure do. We've seen some funny calls as far as interference goes. The offensive call against the Bendros, and now Brandon Hamilton just tackled him as he was finishing up his route, and the ball's on the way. And you'll see it right here. Hamilton just tackles him. Boom, knock you down. Hey, you can make sure he's not going to catch the football if you tackle him.
How is that not called? That's one that I'm sure the officials will have to watch again on a replay this week. East with it, and he's taken down, and a flag will fly here on a face mask, I would presume. Ash Sejour
looks one of the 15-yard variety, meaning a bit more rougher than just casually catching the face
Major
mask.
foul, face mask. Ottawa 23, first down.
So they'll move at 15 with 5:50 to go. And the Cats in trouble again.
So everything's okay?
Yeah.
Studying hard, I'm sure.
Of course.
So you don't need anything?
No.
You're sure?
Mom?
Yeah?
I really miss you.
I really miss you too.
CIBC Online Banking makes it easy to take care of the things that matter.
That's my mom.
The action heats up on the road to the Grey Cup. The Ottawa Renegades raid Montreal to try and steal 2 points against the league-leading Alouettes. The CFL on CBC, September 14th.
Kids of famous musicians.
We loved your father, we loved your father. Good for you, but you don't know the half of it.
I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for my dad.
Is it a gift or a curse?
It's a big shadow.
Singing in the Shadow, September 16th on CBC.
The finest country has to offer. Non-stop music. All-time favorites. Host Paul Brandt. Carolyn Dawn Johnson. Aaron Lyons. Terry Clark. It's the best country in the country. From Calgary, the 2003 Canadian Country Music Awards. Monday at 8 on CBC. Brought to you in part by Kraft Cheese Whiz.
Well, Joe Montfort and that Hamilton defense have tried valiantly to keep their team in it today. But trailed by 14, still time on the clock, just under 6 minutes left. But when you've had the type of year these guys have had, 0-11, they need some real sparks now. Maybe here, Aikens has a catch. Up across midfield at the 50-yard line. Aikens didn't think he'd been touched on the play. By the way, when we were away, almost the entire break, the fans were showing their displeasure at the officials for the non-call on the apparent pass interference.
And I hate to get on the refs and say a bad call, but again, watch Tony Aikens. They have a case right here. I don't think Tony is touched after he catches this ball and goes to the ground. But there I'm wrong. See, the officials do make a right call.
George McCullough just got a hand on it, and McManus gets it away, and it's dropped. Davis dropped the ball after McManus did well to ditch it before taking the hit. Chalk that up as another drop, and they are accumulating again for this Hamilton offense.
I'd get on Troy for that one, but if we catch a replay, watch Troy Davis on your left make this block. Woo! Nice block, and Danny makes a good play to get rid of it. Unfortunately, Troy didn't make the great play with the reception, get some yards, but it was a nice block to protect McManus.
Yes, Derek Ford on the receiving end, but Haywood and Clinton Wayne were in pursuit. 2nd and 10. McManus time, and an incomplete pass through the hands of Plummer. And now you're down by 2 touchdowns, 4:39 to go, and Ron Lancaster said you got to go for it, 3rd down. 3rd and 10.
Well, I think that goes under the category of a drop ball. And these are the times. It's late in the football game. You need to move the chains. You got to keep your team alive. You have to make plays. And they're searching for that guy late in a football game that can step up and make the big catch.
Cats need to make something happen here. 3rd and 10 to keep a drive alive. And that pass sailing well high and not really even near Tony Aikens, incomplete.
Well, Danny's searching for people that are open. He has, again, man-to-man coverage. But they have 2 safeties deep to protect anything deep, so the guys are really jumping the underneath routes. But it's just good coverage.
Well, they're revved up here, sensing that Ottawa is about to post their first set of back-to-back wins in franchise history in the same season. They won the final game last year and then the first game this season. This would be the first back-to-back for the Renegades and would pull them back into a temporary tie with Toronto.
Yeah, if they hold on to this one today, which it looks like they may do. The game next week against Montreal is just a huge football game, and you can really see if Ottawa is for real. This is what you're probably going to see a lot of on this drive. A lot of carries by Josh Ronick. Try to kill some of the clock.
2nd and close to 3, and Ronick brought down short of the first down. And now Joe Paopao has a decision to make. Josh Ronick has gone over 100 yards again this afternoon. 3rd straight game, 105 yards for Ronick. And Joe says, stay out there, get that first down and keep the ball, eat the clock.
Well, it's just over a yard, up by 2 touchdowns.
I'm a little surprised.
It's surprising, but they get it. And he had said yesterday, when in doubt, be aggressive.
Attack, and you got that big bull of a quarterback at 220 pounds to get the yardage.
powerful Toyota Camry. Feel proud.
If you've fallen and been injured because of an icy or cracked sidewalk, poorly maintained floors, stairs, or other surfaces, you have the right to seek money for your injury. But the laws are complex. The time limits for filing a claim are often very brief, and you need experienced legal help to get you everything you deserve. I'm Greg Monfortin. Our lawyers will explain your rights and quickly begin work to make sure you're treated fairly. Remember, the law firm you choose makes a difference.
Call Greg Monfortin and his partners.
There is a new strategist at Windsor Arena. A feature interview with Steve Smith, the new coach of the Spitfires. That's tonight at 6 on Canada Now.
Speed, skill, endurance, a flawless ride. Measure the best in the world as they vie for top spot on the streets of Hamilton, Ontario. The World Road Cycling Championships, October 7 on CBC.
Fresh set of downs for the Renegades with that 14-point lead. And 2:50 left on the clock here. In a game that has been not just entertaining, but a good struggle where you had the impression it, for a time, might have been Hamilton's day. And let's get Joseph with the keeper, and then the feet first slide. 5 more for Kerry Joseph. And although I called for him to run the ball more, I think you make a good point about Kerry Joseph here today, that instead of just making that the easy out, taking off all the time, be more selective and continue to grow as a passing quarterback in this league. Had a couple of key first downs in the third quarter when he did take off, but he's continuing to show his maturity at the quarterback position.
Yeah, you go from a guy who you say potentially can make the big play and is exciting to a guy who becomes a very effective, potentially great quarterback in the league. And that's the difference between tucking it down and running all the time and being selective about when you run and when it's an important part of the football game to tuck it under and go.
And they're starting to rack up the rushing yards again. Ronick on 2nd and 6 carries the ball for close to the 6 yards, the necessary yardage. So this team, the Renegades, again strong on the ground. They've averaged 169 yards in the last 5 games. They had a season high at 185, actually a team record last week against Montreal, and now they're at 178 on the day. So they're really in range of another team mark.
Yeah, they run the ball very well, not just with Josh Ronick, but with Joseph. It's
up,
like
baby?
having an extra back back there. Just that potential of it puts the fear in the defense.
Was a first down. As they move it inside the Hamilton 40, again Ronick and dragged down by Montfort and Woodson.
You got some great football players on this Hamilton Tiger Cat football team. You look at a guy like Joe Montfort, been to the Grey Cup, won a Grey Cup, Carl Coulter, Dave Hack, of course, Danny McManus, and Brandon Hamilton. You wonder how they're dealing with this 0-12 start to their season. Just
never takes a play off, does he?
No, he doesn't. He's full go the whole game.
2nd and 10, short drop, the hitch, Bendras out there against Mathis, who makes the tackle. And it will be 3rd down. Less than 90 seconds to go. A field goal coming up for Ottawa.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Chevy Trucks. The most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
Bendras cut down short of the first down, so it will set up a 42-yard field goal attempt for Lawrence Tynes. Perfect again so far today. And he nails another with authority. And that means Hamilton would need 3 scores to come from behind. And Ron Lancaster, for all intents and purposes, has to now think about Saskatchewan next week. Hopes for springs eternal. There was a sense that Hamilton could win today. Lancaster's first year in the Canadian Football League was this frustrating, when he lost games in succession, 12 straight. The 49 Tiger Cats went 0-12 the entire year. The record in the league, 14 straight losses by Shreveport in '94. The swing pattern, and Troy Davis a first down as he's jolted out of bounds. But I know the Cats yesterday, and we didn't want to talk about it too quickly, but they thought if we could get the first one against Ottawa, Saskatchewan hasn't played as well of late, then a game against our arch rivals Toronto, and maybe they could put a couple together. But right now, that first one is all too elusive for the head coach and his veteran team.
Yeah, I talked at least about the great players that are going through this season, but think about Ron Lancaster, all he's been through.
Wide open, there's Yeast, cutting it back, and Yeast all the way down to the 20.
Yeast emerging as a great receiver for Danny, at least today. But back to the thought of these great players going through an 0-12 season, but Coach Lancaster, I mean, he's been through everything as a player and a coach, and now to go through this season's very tough. You see that the guy's not, this is what you want to see. You're potentially going 0-12, but McManus and Yeast, you're not giving up. You know, you punch it in here, you never know.
First down at the 20, and McManus has to look to the end zone, looking for Aikens. And oh, we've been joking about Boston College, but give the kid his due. That was great coverage by Ordway.
It was great coverage, a corner route, one of the toughest routes as you get down to the end zone to cover. And he's just in Tony Aikens' back pocket. No place to throw the football.
That was an area that Eric Tillman and Joe Paupow wanted to shore up, and maybe they've got the answer back there now with this new alignment in the secondary. McManus has had some success today, but there have been some big plays back there defensively as well. Second down, over the middle, and that ball is incomplete. Again, intended for Aikens with Ordway shadowing him. And now the tempers start to flare. Don't know if a flag was thrown, but there was a little bit of emotion and commotion down there in the trench.
Seen a little bit of frustration on the Ticats' part. They've played well. They scored the most points they've scored all year with the 28 points.
Now we got a flag, and I think it was Dave Hack kept chirping, and somebody's going to get thrown out here. And I mentioned Hack, but Carl Coulter, the former Renegade, is the man being shown to the sidelines. And Hack is agitated. You wonder if a few of those
objectionable conduct, disqualification,
calls that weren't made earlier in this quarter may have gotten to Coulter.
There was a real sense, as I said earlier, about the offensive line dominating Ottawa today. And these guys, I see it in Coulter's face, and I know Dave Hack is feeling the same way. Just frustrated that they didn't just dominate them and run the ball all over them. I think this is just a culmination of those feelings coming out at the end of a football game that you realize you've lost.
The guy known as Cooler will have to head to the room to cool off after another frustrating afternoon. And we're down to third and 20. Three receivers either side, and they dump it over the middle, and Amerson dragged down. Check that, Yeast by George McCullough, short of the first down, and the Hamilton defense and Ottawa offense comes out onto the field.
Well, 3rd and 20. A tough one again for the playbook, but Danny dumps it underneath instead of taking a chance. They complete the ball, but again, turned over on downs. It's 0-12 for the Tiger Cats.
Well, this young team has passed just another test. Let's take a look at our Subway play of the game. And it came here in the fourth quarter. The 63-yard pass and run. Kerry Joseph to Sherrod Gideon. And that made it a 2-touchdown lead. They've added a field goal since. And it's 45-28. The biggest offensive splurge of the year for this young, up-and-coming Renegade team.
Look at TV. Oh, yeah, baby. It's on, baby.
I'm saying young, and there's the veteran Gerald Vaughn, who's seen it all in this league.
Well, he's acting young. I'm sure being around the young guys, becoming the leader of this group makes Gerald feel young.
Well, Joe Paupau made it clear to us yesterday this team expects to be playing in November. And they're not conceding anything to anybody anymore. And for the first time in Renegade history, they've won back-to-back games in a single season. And the quest for a playoff spot and perhaps a home date in the postseason continues on a positive track here in Ottawa. And the frustration continues. 0-12 for Ron Lancaster and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Let's join Brenda.
Well, Kerry Joseph leads his team to back-to-back wins, the first time in franchise history. And Kerry, this team seems to get better and better on offense every week. It's really becoming one of the CFL's explosive offense.
We just come out here and just try to execute what we have to do. You know, we just try to not worry about the other team so much, but worry about ourselves and executing plays. And we have the talent. We just got to keep putting it together.
Next week is the rematch with Montreal. What did you learn from this game that you can use next Sunday?
We just got to come out a little bit more focused. We had some mental mistakes. We got to be really focused next week. You know, Montreal's a good team, and we just got to learn, look at the film, and learn from our mistakes this week.
Congratulations on a great game.
Thank you.
Well, here at Frank Clair Stadium in Ottawa, the Ottawa Renegades defeating the Hamilton Tiger Cats by a score of 25-28.
The CFL on CBC, brought to you by Rogers AT&T Wireless. Imagine getting more from your phone.
The Canadian wild, where only the strong survive. Like the Bombardier Traxxter Max, the world's first two-rider quad. And the new Outlander, so tough it was named ATV of the Year. So other ATVs, be warned. Out here, there's a place for things that don't have what it takes to survive. Bombardier ATVs. Follow no one. Now with free extended coverage, and not just 6 months like most, but a full 3 years.
Bulletproof Monk on DVD Tuesday.
Time to let you know what's going on in and around Essex County for the next week or so. Wednesday is pasta night at Riverside Sportsman's Club. On every Wednesday in September, enjoy all the spaghetti or penny you can eat with salad and a roll. Everyone invited. All proceeds will benefit the Hypertension Society of Ontario. Oakwood Community Centre will begin a 7-week aerobic interval training program on Wednesday, September 10th. Weight classes also available. Call Robin for details. The Leamington and District Half Century Centre will hold their 11th annual golf tournament on Thursday, September 11th at Talbot Trail Golf Course. Roast beef dinner to follow. Call to register. The Sombra Museum Heritage Tour of the Sarnia and Lambton area takes place on Saturday, September 13th. Call for tickets. Community Calendar is a public service of CBC Television in Windsor. If you wish to promote something on Community Calendar, please phone, fax, or email us at least 3 weeks in advance.
What should the government do to help underfunded schools? Consolidate education boards. Raise taxes. Close more schools. Finance another report on education. CBC News World. Trusted, connected, Canadian.
back live in Ottawa. The Renegades defeat the Hamilton Ticats by a score of 45-28. The Ticats are 0-12. They were 0-12 in 1949. Sean Millington, quick final thoughts.
Wow, everybody's trying to say that, that the Ottawa Renegades are for real and that this wasn't a fluke. But hey, they just beat the Hamilton Ticats. That's not that big a deal. Let's wait till next week against Montreal to see who the real deal really is.
Well, I look forward to seeing what's going to happen next week. But I tell you what I liked is that this Ottawa team stayed within their game plan. It was simple. They kept it simple, and they stayed consistent with it. And they need to take away some of the big plays. The secondary's got to tighten it up, take those big plays out. They got a good team.
Ottawa Renegades win today, one of them next Sunday. Just a reminder, TSN has a game tomorrow. That is the Toronto Argonauts and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That's tomorrow afternoon on TSN. Sean says the real test will come next week. We will be in Montreal for the Renegades and the Alouettes next Sunday afternoon. Don't forget, 1 hour from now, Terry Leibel, Bruce Rainey standing by at beautiful Spruce Meadows in Calgary for the BMO Nations Cup competition. You can shake your head all you want. It is hard to believe, but the way this team shoots itself in the foot, they could go 0-18. Hamilton is 0-12. The Renegades win for all of us. We'll see you next week in Montreal.